he spoke to us rather about so many things on how we can better manage our time, talking about quality of time and quantity of time. So I'd like to ask a few persons here on feedbacks from the last session. What are the things that we have, we have been able to practically utilize in our day to day? How has the last session helped us? How has it improved in our lifestyle? Before I introduce our speaker to us today, and yes. So please, you can raise your hand, you can unmute if you'd like to share with us how the last session has helped you, how the last session has improved you, a particular thing that you've learned from last session and you would never forget, a particular quote. I remember he shared so many quotes. He shared some of his personal experiences and all, so I'd like anyone to unmute or raise their hands to give a feedback or share what they've learned from the last session. If not, I'll go on calling names. Okay. Hi, Jennifer. Can you unmute? Jennifer, can you talk to us? I'd like to ask you what's your first of all, I'd like to know if you were in the last session and to know if you were able to pick one or two things from the last session. Is there anything that has been helpful to you from the last session we had? Is there anything you've been able to, put into your day to day and has been helping you since the last session we had? Jennifer, can you hear me?
Hi, sorry.
Okay.
Might not be able to speak so much because I'm at work. I don't know if you can hear me. Hello?
Sorry, I can't hear you clearly.
Sorry, I'm at work, so I might not be able to speak out so loud. I'm currently at work right now, yeah. But yeah,
Okay.
but if you can hear me, basically for me, I wasn't there at the last session, but I went through what was taught, and I believe personally I've been able to apply, discipline and to to my schedule and lifestyle generally. Because sometimes, as humans, we procrastinate with a lot of things, and when you set your mind to it, just certain things, you'll be able to, achieve what you want to achieve.
Okay. Thank you very much. That was good. Thank you. Before we continue also into this session, is there any other person that wants to say something that was present in the last session, that was present in the last session and wants to say a thing? Hi, Miracle, are you there saying something?
Hi, good evening, everyone. Good evening. Thank you. From the last section, time management, I learned that time is money, and I also learned that we are the wisest. Time is the wisest counselor actually, and I learned about setting more realistic goals. I also learned about multitasking in a limit level so that I can be able to actualize whatever thing, at least productivity can be actualized when I get to limit multitasking maybe to 2 or 3, according to our speaker that day. So another thing that I learned was that I should take breaks in between work for productivity. The moment that I see that, okay, I'm burning out already, or I just felt that I need to see the light, I'll just take a break. Then there are some, there was some terminologies that was used that particular day. Eat the dog, to-do list, time logging, Pomodoro. I don't know if I called it very well. So to-do list has really been helping me. Actually, it has really been helping me. And at the end of the day, I can see that most of the major tasks of the day has been ticked. And the little ones the ones that I can easily do even while I'm resting my back on the bed or doing something else. So those are the things I learned from time management. We really talked about time itself and how to manage ourselves. And we also talked about we knowing ourselves, what we can be, knowing what we can do. According to our speaker that day, he said something that he uses, his personal experience, most especially to talk to us. And he also encourages us that we should know ourselves, what we can do at a time, what we can, especially the multitasking aspect. I think I asked the question at that particular time. So that was majorly everything that I picked and I've been able to, put into my daily activity. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Miracle. That was a robust feedback. I'm very sure if Engineer Taiwo were to be in today's meeting, we'll be very, very proud to hear this feedback. Like it shows that the words just didn't fall to the ground. There were a lot of things that you actually record from the last session, and thank you very much for that. Really, I'll give room for one more person to share their experience or what they learned or what has stuck with them from the last session before we go. Just one more person.
Hello, thank you. Can you
Thank
hear
you.
me?
Yes, we can hear you.
All right. I just want to talk about the task quadrants in order to manage our time. So the speaker spoke about dividing our task into four different groups, and which we call quadrants. So we have the important and urgent task, the important but not urgent task, and then the third one is the not important but urgent. And the fourth one is not important and not urgent. So we should be able to classify all our tasks into these four groups. So if you're able to classify them into these four groups, be able to attend to them accordingly. And we should always attend to the tasks that are very, very important and urgent. And then we move to the ones that are important but not urgent, and then followed by the not important, urgent, and not important and not urgent. So that's the detail I just want to add. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Shegun. That was also another major part of that session, honestly. Thank you very much. I'm so glad to hear these feedbacks, honestly. It shows that the sessions we're planning for actually not just they're not just wasteful, or we're just using them to like just count time. People are really learning from these things, and people are picking valuable lessons that we could. I for one also I learned a lot, and I think from the last session I remembered, yes, the taking breaks that Miracle mentioned. Yes, he spoke about taking breaks, and he spoke about that multitasking thing. So you should limit your multitasking so you can function on a thing at a time, and don't be doing four tasks at the same time, and at the end you're not able to you're not able to be productive at one. So yes, these feedbacks are great, and I'm very impressed. I'm very sure we have a lot to learn today. In fact, many more practical things that will help us. And, all of these things adding up together are going to ensure that we have a robust lifestyle and that we are living life up to the maximum. So thank you everyone that has given their contributions. And I think we have a good number to start our today's session. Let's just say a word of prayer. Thank you, Lord, for this evening. We give you all the praise for today. Thank you for how far you've kept us from the last session till now. We give you all the praise for what we are going to learn. We thank you because these words will not fall to the ground, that we'll be able to maximize these words. It will fall into a fertile ground in our hearts, and it will germinate. It will bring out seeds in the name of Jesus, that will have results to show for this. In Jesus' name we have prayed. Amen. Hear feedbacks. Like literally, who's looking forward to today's session? I've been giving the hypes on the group. I don't know if it's just me alone or any other person's really looking forward to this session.
It's not you alone, no.
I'm glad I have someone else to socialize, because to be very honest, if we are being practical, like being very honest and realistic with ourselves, we have demands at work, demands in your church, demands in your community, and demands in your voluntary community also. So how do we now balance these things so that we are able to manage stress? We don't burn out. We don't now become ineffective, or we're not productive at one. So literally, I have a lot that I've, in fact, my pen and my book is ready to write down a lot and to really put them into practice. To do what I'm going to do from today's session to help my life, because I really need help. So we'll be going right into it. I shared something on our group chat just for us to familiarize ourselves with our speaker, but then I'll be going right into introducing our speaker. She's been with us since many people even joined. She's Dr. Folashade Ojo-Benys, and I'll be giving us a brief introduction, a brief read of her bio, so we can know her better, and then I'll introduce her after I do the introduction. So please, can we have the slides shown, sir? Thank you very much. So I'll be introducing to us today. We have Dr. Mrs. Folashade Ojo-Benys. She's a clinician and a public health physician specialist with Ghana Health Services, where she currently holds the position of Head of Public Health and Clinical Coordinator. She's also a lecturer. She's a member of the West African College of Physicians. She has an MSc in International Public Health from Liverpool John Morris University in the UK. She has a postgraduate diploma in pediatric nutrition from Boston University in the US. She has a certificate in health administration and management from Ghana Institute of Management and Public Administration, GIMPA. She has a certificate in microbial resistance surveillance data analysis from the Liverpool School of Tropical Medicine. She also has a certificate in global health project management. She has also gone through leadership and management in health and global research from University of Washington, among others. She has had a training in the pediatric infectious diseases and neonatal respiratory medicine in China. She's currently pursuing a PhD in public health with research interest in antimicrobial resistance and antimicrobial stewardship. Dr. Ojo-Benys is an advocate for community-based healthcare initiatives, and she collaborates with NGOs to train local healthcare workers and advocacy in the communities. She aims to improve healthcare accessibility and education. She is an AMR champion and serves as a consultant with some NGOs, including Awesome Institute in Developing and including Forum Institute in developing an AI-powered prescribing app for Ghana's. Sorry, apologies, please. My screen is very. Okay, and also she has a path to develop a training manual and e-learning antenatal care. She is a zonal coordinator for Volunteer Medical Corps in East, West, and Central Africa. She's a global network of which is a global network of Christian, yes, which is a global network of Christian healthcare workers that is dedicated to providing medical care through outreaches and humanitarian assistance to communities in need. She's a member of several professional bodies, including the Ghana Medical Association, Medical Women Association, CWPAMS Advisory Committee, Spider Steering Committee, Friends of UNFPA, among others. She received the Ghana National Presidential Award for her role during the COVID-19 pandemic, and she was instrumental in her hospital winning the Global AMR Industry, which is the Alliance Award, and she was featured in a BBC documentary in 2023 for her contributions to combating AMR. In addition to her professional pursuits, Dr. Ojo-Benys is a passionate being, and she's about mentoring young people. She's passionate about mentoring young people. She enjoys reading, she enjoys traveling and teaching, and she's married and blessed with 3 children. Oh my God, I hope someone is clapping. Without delay, without so much more delay again, let me introduce to us our speaker for today, Dr. Mrs. Folashade Ojo-Benys. A round of applause, please. Let's give our audio claps and our virtual claps, please. Let's make her welcome. We're so glad and we're so honored to have you in our midst today. And I'll be handing over to you, Matsu. Please take the lead. Thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you very much for the introduction. I'm very happy to be here today. to say a few things, which I'm sure some of you know about already. Thank you very much, Bolanle. I'm very glad to be in your midst today. So
Thank
without
you.
wasting much time, I think I'll just go straight and start talking. I hope I'll be able to finish all within reasonable time because I like talking a lot. Okay, so today we'll be discussing stress management, balancing personal and volunteering commitments. I know we all know what a volunteer is. I don't need to tell you who a volunteer is because you are one. Please, a minute. Please, can you all see my slide?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So what are key learning objectives for today? We need to first of all understand what stress is. We should be able to identify stressors in our lives, and then the effects of the stress or stressors, and how we can manage the stress at the end of the day, and then what we need to take home from this session. So by way of definition, I prefer to start with the WHO definition, which states stress as a state of worry or mental tension, which is caused by a difficult situation. So any situation that causes you to be uncomfortable is deemed to be called stress. And usually it's a natural human response that prompts us to address challenges and threats in our lives. So once you experience a discomfort, there is a response by your body that prompts you to address that challenge or that threat to your life. And how we address it is actually what determines our mental health or physical well-being. The Oxford English Dictionary defines stress as a state of mental or emotional strain or tension that results from adverse or demanding circumstances. So the dictionary is saying that once there is a strain or a tension, whether physically or mentally, then your response will determine how it is termed, and that is what the stress is all about. It is our body's reaction to any change that requires an adjustment or response. And we all, at one point or the other in our lives, experience stress. As long as you are a living being, you will experience stress to some degree. How we respond, however, to that stress will determine whether it will affect us physically or mentally. So the response of our body or our mind to that stress will make the difference in the overall well-being. There have been several studies conducted in different parts of the world that actually talks about the effect of stress or shows how people react to stress. And one of such studies was conducted in the year 2018 in the UK. And this involved 4,619 participants. And it showed that 74% of them have felt so stressed that they have not been able to cope well, or they've been overwhelmed. And such, when you read that study further, some of them actually develop things like depression and anxiety. Another study that was conducted in 2023 on mental health and well-being also showed that 76% of the respondents, that's the participants in that study, which were 4,170 individuals, actually experienced moderate to high levels of stress in their daily lives. And some of these same respondents actually developed anxiety and depression. We have what we call stressors, and these are the things that actually lead us to having stress in our lives and result in the manifestation or the effects of this stress. I've divided them into personal stressors and volunteering stressors because we are looking at our commitments in our personal lives and in our volunteering lives. So the personal stressors include our daily workload. So if you work in a place where you are being given the task of 3 people and you alone, you are doing that, that is excessive workload, and that can actually be a stressor in your life. If you have to meet stringent deadlines, it's also a stressor. Job insecurity, you've been given a job, the next minute you realize that they are already downsizing, you are not sure whether you'll be part of it or not. It causes stress to you. We also have family matters, including marital issues. You have married to a man or to a woman who does not give you peace. Today is one fight or the other. There are always challenges, or you have in-laws who keep giving you problems, or you have family members who keep demanding all sorts of things from you, or you even have children who you are finding it very difficult to manage. All these things pose stress to your life. Health challenges is another. When you have personal health challenges, maybe you have a chronic disease that you have to manage, and that takes you in and out of hospital. It also puts strain on your pocket. That is a stressor in your life. You may have children who have health challenges. Some are born with health challenges, and you have to take care of them. You have to work at the same time. It's a lot of stress. Or you may even have parents or other relatives that you are directly responsible for, and you have to take care of them, and they have health challenges. It poses stress on you as an individual. There are also financial stressors, which comes about as a result of the responsibilities that we have to manage. So if, for instance, you're a salary earner and you have to take care of yourself, take care of maybe siblings who are also in school and you have to help pay their school fees, or you have parents who you have to, take care of on a monthly basis or weekly or daily basis, and other financial obligations, which also include church activities. You have to pay for one thing or the other in church. You have to help one person or the other, and so on. They actually cause stress in your life. And one of the major reasons why sometimes financial stressors are actually very difficult to manage is because we don't budget and plan appropriately. You know that you are earning $500 in a month, and you have no proper budget or plan for how you will spend that money, what goes into what, listing out all the responsibilities or obligations you have for that month, and apportioning the right amount or the right percentage of that money to those responsibilities. It will pose stress to you. It will cause a lot of stress on you. So we need to be able to budget and plan appropriately. And a number of young people also live beyond their means because their friends are wearing a particular kind of clothes or particular kind of designer. They also want to feel among, they want to look like them. They do not want to be left out. They want to be like their colleagues or their peers. It poses a lot of stress, and that is living beyond your means. We need to learn to be contented. Another stressor in our personal life is also lack of support. You have a vision, you have a goal. These are the things you want to achieve in your life. If you do not have that support from your friends, from your family members, people who you hold dear to you, or people who you care about, or people who you expect to care about you, it becomes a challenge, and it can pose a lot of stress on you. For instance, if you are a married woman or a married man, and you have a job somewhere you need to do, and your spouse is telling you that you need to sit at home and take care of these children, and you know that if you do not go and do that job or go and attend to that assignment, it can even cost you more. It can cost you your job, or it can actually affect you negatively. It can have a negative impact on your career as a person. If you do not have the support from your spouse or from the people who you live with, it can become a stressor in your life. Peer pressure is another, especially when we look at our social media today. A lot of things go on Facebook, a lot of things go on Instagram, TikTok, and all that. I mean, a lot of people are using it negatively, and others are getting influenced by the content of those social media. And the sad thing about young people these days is that they also spend quality time that they are supposed to be using to be productive. They spend that time watching the fake life, what I call fake life of other people on these social media, and trying to imbibe those same things that they are doing. This will pose a lot of stress on you, especially when it comes to the financial aspect of it. It's a lot of stress. Then we have the voluntary stressors as well. And one of it is emotional drain. And when we talk about emotional drain, sometimes we just think, oh, it's, I'm just tired. But emotional drain goes beyond just being tired. It actually can result in emotional exhaustion, which is a very dangerous thing to get into. And sometimes you can be so drained that you feel tired in your mind. You don't just feel tired in your body, but you also feel very tired in your mind. You cannot concentrate. You don't, sometimes they even tell you something before you realize you can't even remember what was said to you. And it usually builds up over a period of time. It's like slow poison. It builds up slowly over time. And by the time you realize, you feel like you are stuck in a situation and you are having it very difficult to come out of it. You start feeling or experiencing lack of energy. And once you start having that, you are going down towards depression. And depression is a serious psychiatric disorder that you don't even want to get into. The next thing is that you are not able to sleep properly. It starts affecting your sleep time. You're supposed to sleep for a number of hours a day. You can't even sleep. You cannot concentrate. And then you start, your motivation to even do the things that you are passionate about or the things that you love to do reduces markedly. And the next minute, it is something else entirely. If you are not able to come out of this emotional exhaustion, the next thing is depression or even psychosis, which is a very dangerous health condition. Another stressor for a volunteer is also time management issues. You are a volunteer. It means that you are not employed and being put on a salary. You are volunteering to do something that you ideally should be passionate about. So if you have a regular day-to-day job, maybe you have a 9 to 5 job that you are doing, and you are not able to manage your time effectively, you will get stressed. You will be stressed out. You start having emotional issues. You start having tension. I mean, you can name them. So you need to be able to manage your time adequately. So if you have a job, how many hours are you supposed to work on that job? If you are doing 9 to 5, it means you work 8 hours a day, and let's say 5 days a week, and that's 40 hours a week. Are you able to take on another batch of hours of volunteering work? You should be able to determine that. And then organizational challenges. If the organization you are volunteering in or volunteering with do not have proper, well-defined organogram or leadership roles or their work schedule, it may pose a lot of stress on you. So you just see everywhere is disorganized. If you need information, you go to the person you think should be the right person. For instance, you need an information. You're supposed to, first of all, seek that from the administrator of the organization. You go to that person, the person says, I don't have the information. Let me find out from somebody else. I mean, back and forth like that, or you have to report to a particular person, or there is a program that is supposed to take place, and you have allotted 3 hours of your day, of your productive day to that program, and you get to the place and the place is not set. They don't know who is supposed to set up the place. They don't know who the speaker is. They don't know who your audience is. I mean, it becomes a big challenge for you. The other thing too with volunteering is stringent deadlines. My experience with NGOs and I mean, even working on projects, you realize that when you are applying for maybe a grant or you're applying for sponsorship for a project you have in mind to do, you have given yourself deadline. You say, okay, this particular project, I'll get it done in 6 months. But realistically, it can be done. Ideally, you should have given yourself a year to be able to do that project, to be able to carry it out. But you have given yourself only 6 months to carry out that project. Then you use 1 month to do your preparations, to talk to this person or that person who should be involved. You have 5 months to go. And at that time, by the time the approval comes to you to actually go ahead and execute the project, especially when you need resources to use, you are not able to meet that deadline. Then it becomes a lot of stress on you. I mean, because you have to report. It is not your money. And once you get money or support from funding organizations to carry out a project, they will demand reports and evidence of what they are. They expect you to be a steward of what they have given you. So that will pose a lot of stress on you when you are not working with realistic timelines. Lack of resources is another, and it can be both human and material resource. If the job is supposed to be done by 5 people or 5 volunteers, and you are the only person who is doing the job of 5 people, you will be stressed out. It will be a lot of stress on you physically and mentally. And if you also need resources or materials to execute the job that you have been given, and that is not available or provided for you, it becomes another stressor in your life. Also, high expectations. I mean, we always have to ask ourselves, especially when we are taking up a volunteering work, we need to ask ourselves, why am I taking up this job? Why do I want to be a volunteer? Is it because I want to make money from it? Is it because I want to make a name from it? Is it because I want to be recognized? Is it because I am passionate about it? I want to see people do well in life, especially when it comes to volunteering for jobs that, I mean, there isn't much in terms of capital involved. You have to find out and ask yourself if it is worth doing. Because if you have very high expectations that is different from the objectives of the project or the job, then you will get stressed. So this just depicts some of the things that I just mentioned, the stressors in our lives, the physical stressors, and then the mental or the volunteering stressors, which most often can also be emotional. What are then the effects of stress? Stress can have profound effects on our body and our mind. So the effect is not just on the physical body, but it's also on our minds as well. And this effect can actually impact our health and overall well-being. So I've classified them into 2. We have the physical effects and then the mental and emotional effects. So when you look at your body, when you are stressed, then your heart will have to work harder because you are working against unnecessary pressure. So the heart will have to work harder to actually distribute blood quickly to all the various organs in the body. And this will cause the heart to overwork, and it will increase the risk of hypertension, stroke, and some other cardiovascular diseases as well. When you are constantly exposed to stress, then it becomes chronic over a period of time. And this suppresses your immune response to, assault from or insult from the outside. So when there's an infectious agent around, you become vulnerable to that infectious agent. and your immune system is not able to respond quickly to that, to actually combat that illness. And that is why you see some people, they will say, oh, they don't understand why they've been hospitalized. It's not anything. I mean, some of the things that people are hospitalized for, you realize that it's because their bodies have been assaulted over time. When you don't take care of yourself, or you keep allowing yourself to get stressed, any little infection, even common cold, can actually land you in a hospital. Things that normally, even without taking any medication, and that is where I am very passionate about antimicrobial resistance. When you don't need to take medication and then you end up taking that medication, at the end of the day, the organism becomes so used to that drug. I mean, it becomes bigger and better than the drug, in quotes, and then it becomes resistant to it. And when it's supposed to cure that infection, it cannot cure the infection. And sometimes, even without taking medications, and you are able to rest, your immune system is functioning well, it kicks in, it's able to cure you of that infection. If you have a wound, you expect the natural immune system to even, aid the wound healing, aside from taking the drug. But if your immune response has been suppressed, especially when you are seriously stressed, then it will slow down the wound healing process as well. Stress can also cause migraines, tension, headaches. I mean, if you've experienced migraine before, if you've actually experienced migraine before, tension, headache, even without taking any medication, and you consciously stop all that you are doing, consciously take a rest, you realize that the pain subsides immediately, even without taking medication. And this points to the fact that stress over time can cause chronic tension, okay? And sometimes you just sit there, you wonder why you feel pain at the back of your neck, the nape of your neck, or your shoulder, and then you keep turning and turning. You don't really understand why you should be feeling that pain. Or you have sat down for so many hours, and then the next thing is when you stand up, you feel pain in your back. It's as a result of stress, because you have refused to relax your body and your mind. It can also cause symptoms like nausea, vomiting, constipation. It can increase the acid production in the stomach. And once there's increased acidity in the stomach over a period of time, it causes ulcers. And you see that some people start having chronic ulcers, which can even result in cancers. So it's not only diseases like malaria, urinary tract infections, respiratory tract infections that can actually cause you to feel nauseous or to even vomit. Stress can cause disease in the body as well. And for those who are asthmatic, or who have chronic lung diseases like even lung cancer, it can precipitate attacks in them. So if you are an asthmatic and you don't know how to rest or relax, you can start having frequent attacks that will land you in an emergency room. And it can turn to something else entirely. And when we are stressed, there are two hormones that are released in the body, and they are called cortisol and adrenaline. And once they are released, they also disrupt other hormones, because they are being released at the time when they are not supposed to be released. Other hormones are functioning at that time, and this would then disrupt the function of those hormones and cause an imbalance in the body, and this will affect the mood. So you see some people, to this 1 minute, they are moody, they have a low mood, they just don't feel like doing anything, they feel sad for no reason. When you ask them, why are you sad? They will tell you, I don't know, or I've not even realized I'm sad. Or you see them carrying some facial expression that does not show that they are joyful. Then you know that there is something going on there. And it also affects the body's metabolic rates as well. Some of the mental and emotional effects include impairment in our short-term memory and concentration. So you tell somebody who is stressed out, you need to you need to take account of so and so, or you need to get this job done in the next 20 minutes. The person can come back and ask you after 30 minutes, please, what did you say the last time? I don't remember what you said, or I didn't register what you said. And it happens a lot, especially for those of us who have to juggle so many things at the same time. You have to do so 24 hours in a day is not even enough for you to achieve all that you need to do for that day. That happens a lot. Stress will impair your short-term memory. And the level of concentration will also reduce when you are stressed, because your mind is tired. Your mind is tired. You can't concentrate. Your full concentration cannot be on the job. And it will make decision-making very, very difficult for you, because you can't even remember some of the things you need to do. So what decision then are you taking? And also, for those who need to learn, it becomes very, very difficult as well. Chronic stress is also a significant contributor to depression and anxiety disorders. So after a time, you are stressed today, you do nothing about it, you keep getting stressed, no form of relaxation, you will end up becoming a depressed person. Your mood will go low, and you end up becoming a depressed person. You end up getting so worried all the time. And this, especially when you have financial obligations, you are worried. What will happen? What will happen the next minute? What will happen? Am I in debt? And so on and so forth. Stress can also lead to emotional volatility and decreased patience. And I'm sure maybe you have also experienced it. For me, sometimes when I get stressed, sometimes I become irritable. Like, I have little patience for people. Something that I expect you to do, maybe I've asked you to do a task for me, and I expect you to do it and do it well within a few minutes, and I have to come back after about 30 minutes and you are still dragging on it, I'll get upset with you. And that's mainly because at that point in time, I am also stressed. I'm working with a timeline, and you are also, you are delaying me. I'm stressed. So I will definitely react in the negative to you. If I'm not stressed, I'll just say, oh, you are wasting my time. Hurry up. But if I'm stressed, I will make noise about it. I will get upset with you for not doing what you're supposed to do. And this strains personal and professional relationships a lot. Your subordinate, if you are taking it out, you're taking out your stress on your subordinates will feel uncomfortable around you. Your subordinates will not be happy with you. And when you don't check it, even if you apologize later to the person and it keeps recurring, it will still strain that relationship. The person will lose that confidence and trust in you. The person will feel slighted, and it will still affect your work negatively. So it's very, very important for us to be able to manage that aspect of our lives, because we cannot avoid being stressed, but we need to just know our limits. Stress can also cause sleep disorders, which include insomnia and even some of the parasomnias as well. And insomnia is simply lack of sleep. You can't sleep. Even when you close your eyes, you are on the bed, your eyes are closed, quite all right, but your mind is active. You are doing a lot of things in your mind while you are sleeping. Your subconscious is not asleep. You are actively processing things. You have finished organizing all the meetings. You have finished answering all the emails you need to answer. You have finished writing all the proposals in your mind. So at the end of the day, you wake up and you realize that I feel tired. I've slept for 7 hours, but I still feel tired. Why am I tired? I've slept. And I'm sure a lot of us experience this, if not often, once in a while. Stress can also cause us to eat more than we should, or not eat at all. That's, you lose appetite. You just don't feel like eating. Or sometimes you just become a picky eater, or you eat everything you see. And most of the time, the things that are consumed, the food that are consumed in these instances are usually unhealthy to the body. So you just see somebody, you see somebody who has gone to school. Some people will say, oh, stress made them gain weight. the person, you expect that with the volume of work you are doing, you're not supposed to gain weight. You are active. So why are you gaining weight? It's because they are consuming food because they are stressed. It can also lead people to start or increase consumption of alcohol, tobacco, or other drugs because they are stressed. They need to stay awake. They have deadlines. They have timelines that they need to achieve. They have a lot of things that they need to, get done in a short period of time. They need stimulants in their body that will keep them awake and keep them active. So they end up taking alcohol, they end up smoking, and some will even take drugs that they are not supposed to take. There's a story of one Uber driver in Ghana that I heard, and he actually won an award for as the best driver for that year because he's always available when they call him. This guy was practically living in his car, and he ended up falling ill, and they found some drugs in his car that he was taking to stay awake. So he will work all through the night and then sleep for maybe an hour or two in his car and then continue to work during the day. He ended up having an accident and he nearly lost his life. And that is one of the things that stress can do to you. And he was pushed to do that because he needed to make money. So it's actually a big challenge. Prolonged stress can also lead to feelings of being overwhelmed. We all know what it means to feel overwhelmed. It's too much for me. I can't, even little task after some time will become something that is overwhelming for you to handle. Some also experience burnt out. They are so tired, their minds cannot process anything again. Their brains are tired. It poses a lot of stress on the body, and they are not able to cope with their daily responsibilities. Individuals might also withdraw from social interactions, and they become moody. Nobody wants to even relate with them, or they are even too tired to have a meaningful conversation with anybody. The stress is so much on them. Their workload is so much that the little time that they have outside the work, they just want to be on their own to try and relax or do something. And at the end of the day, they lose touch with people who they shouldn't lose touch with. And this will reduce their support network as well, because for the kind of work we do, especially if you're a volunteer and you are also working, you have a full-time job, you need a lot of support as well. And then this will also increase the feelings of loneliness and isolation in them. For a young person who is not even married and hope to have a relationship with the opposite sex and get married eventually, that person may not even get that chance to do that. It may not even matter to the person anymore because you just want to just stay on your own lane. You don't want to have issues with people. You just want to stress. So this picture just depicts how the stressors can just affect us. You feel like you want to explode. Everything is on you. This one is coming at you. So when you look at the top left picture, you see somebody is sitting down and everybody is bringing their reports. This one is saying this, that person is saying that. You just get stressed out and you feel like exploding. The second picture in the middle, that's the one in the middle, the top middle picture is just showing the weight that stress can put on you physically. And it feels as if you are going to just, all the pressures of this life, all the weight of the world is on you alone and you are collapsing. And the same goes for the rest. You just want to just like give up. You don't know what to do anymore. How then can we manage stress, or what are the various ways we can manage stress? And this is where I need you to pay attention, because you owe it to yourself to take care of yourself. Nobody can take care of you more than you can take care of yourself. Nobody can love you more than you love yourself. Even the Bible says, love your neighbors as yourself. So what you don't have, you cannot give to any other person. What you do not have, you cannot give to anybody. You need to be able to, you need to learn how to take care of yourself and take care of yourself before you can even take care of other people. So the first thing to take note of is to learn how to assess and prioritize your commitments. You have commitment to your volunteering work. You have commitment to your daily job. You have commitment to your family. You have commitment to a lot of things. So you need to learn to prioritize those commitments. Make a list of those commitments. What are your commitments? What are the responsibilities for each of those commitments that you have? Draw a scale of preference. And then once you are able to do that, you can now recognize the ones that you need to address immediately, the ones that need to be addressed urgently. So when you prioritize that way, if it is, for instance, you have to go to work every day, and then you have a volunteer work where you have to engage young people, or you have to train, maybe you are, let's say, a tailor, okay, and you have your own shop where you sew for people, and you are a big shop, and then you have some few people that you have volunteered to train them free of charge as well. You need to prioritize. You have customers who are waiting on you to finish the job they've given you. You have people you have to also train as well. So you need to prioritize which one is more important. And then once you have prioritized, okay, if you think it is your customers that are more important, you assign a time to them. So you address that immediately. If somebody has given you a job and expects feedback or expects you to give the job back to them in, let's say, 2 months, and you also have somebody you want to train in a week, I mean, you can prioritize that person you need to train in 1 week over the job you have to deliver in 2 months, so that you don't get stressed at the end of the day. So this is just, I mean, a simple example. So you look at what you do on a daily basis. If it is a job that you have, a white-collar job that you have, you prioritize and look at all the responsibilities you need to do there. And then your volunteering work, what are the responsibilities assigned to you for the volunteering work? You list them out, and then you categorize them. We have tools online, a number of them. One is a Senhora box that you can actually use to categorize your task, and you are able to say, this is the one that is urgent, this is the one that is immediate. You need to finish all these tasks in 2 weeks. So the first 3 days, the urgent ones, I'll take care of them and make sure I finish within that 3 days. Then the remaining 2 weeks or whatever time you have remaining, you then focus on the other important tasks that you need to do. So it is very, very important for you to plan. You need to plan. And there are also some tasks that we take upon ourselves. We think that I'm from the school of thought where I believe I am indispensable. I know what I'm worth. I know what I can do. And I know that for now, where I am, I have not, especially when you have not trained people to be able to take up those tasks, you become indispensable at that point in time. And that is not healthy. What is healthy is to identify people that you can train. And that is where mentoring comes in. If you are not able to mentor the people who are under you, or you are able to identify somebody who has passion or a similar passion or interest as you will get overwhelmed all the time. So you need to be able to learn to mentor other people, and that will also help by delegating the task that you need to do. So if, for instance, you are a boss somewhere and you have maybe 2 or 3 subordinates, or you are a team leader and you have 2 or 3 subordinates working under you, you need to teach them the job and delegate some of the work to them. And all you just need to do is to supervise. And once you are able to delegate and supervise appropriately, they will master the work, and subsequently you don't have to even stress yourself. So you should know the ones to prioritize and then commit to those ones effectively. You need to set clear boundaries. You should be able to define your limits. What can you take? What can you not take? How much time can you dedicate to volunteering work? If you are supposed to work only 40 hours a week, that is what your health can take. You want to work for only 40 hours a week, and that is all you can dedicate. And out of that 40 hours, you have to give 35 hours of that to your everyday job. It means that you have only 5 hours to do the volunteering work. Do not exceed that time. Plan and make sure that that 5 hours a week that you have to dedicate to volunteering job is impactful. It's productive. Ensure that that is what you do, because if you don't define your limits, it will impact on your life negatively. You also need to learn how to clearly communicate your availability to the volunteering organization, the people who are organizing the program, or your team members in your group, so that they can set realistic expectations of you. You need to learn how to communicate boldly. This is what I am capable of doing. This is what I can take. This is what I cannot take. This is what I can do. This is what I cannot do. Learn to say no as well. Learn to say no. It is not difficult. I mean, you just have to say it politely. I'm sorry, I can't do more than 3 hours today. I'm sorry, I can't travel to this place today. Maybe the next time. And they will understand that about you, because they know that when you say yes, you will do the job and do it effectively. But when you say no, it means that you cannot at that point in time. So you need to learn how to evaluate every opportunity that comes your way against your current commitments and overall capacity. You need to know what are you capable of doing? Are you capable of doing that at that point in time? If you are not capable of committing to that work, then there is no need for you to say yes to it. You should be bold to say, I'm sorry, I cannot do it. Don't ever overextend yourself, because at the end of the day, you will not be productive. You will be stressed out, and you will also cause delays in the organization that has given you the work to do. You will not be productive. The fourth thing is to be able to leverage our time management techniques. You need to learn to schedule wisely. You need to schedule wisely. You can use, we have Google calendars, you can write on sticky notes to schedule your time, and then you paste the sticky notes where you can easily visualize it, maybe by your bedside or anywhere, or in your office on a notice board where you can easily visualize your schedule. And then you make sure you follow the time that you have allocated to that schedule. There's also something we call batch tasking. So batch tasking simply means grouping similar tasks together so that you reduce the time you spend on switching between different types of tasks. And one of the popular cognitive neuroscientists, Dr. Sir Youssef, says that the human brain, that's our brain, works best when it focuses on one thing at a time. When you have too many things, it causes disruption in the brain cells. So your mind is not focused on that thing. So the human brain works best when it focuses on one thing at a time. And this is where task batching works better than actually multitasking. We should be able to multitask, but even in the multitasking, you should learn how to batch your task, okay? And what it does well is that it allows your brain to focus on one task at a time. So what you need to do is to list out all the tasks that you need to do for the day, okay? When you do that, then you look at the tasks that are similar. So for instance, if you have to answer to emails, you have to send out mails, respond to mails at the for that day. You need to speak to a group for that day. You need to run some errands for that day. What you can do is, in batch tasking, all the errands you need to run for the day, you put them as one. Anything that has to do, the things that have to do with mails, which means you sit in front of your computer to answer mails or send mails, you batch them as one. And then writing of, let's say, a proposal, you batch as one. So when you pick up the task, the ones that you have batched together, so as soon as I sit in front of my computer, I know that the first thing I'm going to do is to read my mails. As soon as I'm done reading the mails, I respond to those mails immediately. So you've been able to achieve that within that time. I need to run errands. So all the errands I need to run, they are around the same area or not far from each other. So I can decide, okay, my lunch break or in the afternoon, I'll run all the errands at the same time. But when you decide to run some of the errands in the morning, then you come back in the evening to run the errand again, you get stressed. Okay, you get stressed. And it takes an average of 23 minutes for the brain to focus back after a distraction. So by the time you realize your time is gone, and then you start getting agitated because you have not met your task for the day. So you need to learn how to batch tasks. You list all the tasks for the day and then categorize them into similar groups. And you realize that the time you need to spend on those tasks, the effort you need to put in, the kind of actions you need to put in to get it done, it becomes very clear. And you are able to manage your time well and end up being productive. You need to set specific times for volunteering work. You need to determine which days of the week you want to do volunteering work. If you are doing it, even full-time volunteering, you still need to set times for that activity and stick to it as much as possible. There are a lot of people that are very good at planning. When you look at their plan, you look at their program, you see that, wow, this is fantastic, but implementing becomes a challenge. So you need to learn how to schedule your time appropriately and then follow the time as much as possible. The next thing is automating and delegating. We have a lot of apps these days that can help you automate your task and also learn how to delegate to others and take care of your health. Regular exercise. For those who pray, if you pray, you can even use your prayer hours actually to even exercise your mind and body by not lying down, just walking about, doing some exercises, raising your hands and all that. It helps a lot. And if you have an hobby, ensure that you enjoy that hobby. Ensure you enjoy your hobby. Take time to actually do it. If you like to run, take time to run. If you like to play football, take time, spend some time to play football. Have fun. Have enough sleep. If you like to hang out with friends who think alike like you, hang out with them. Find time. Don't wait until you get opportunity to travel abroad before you know that you have gone on vacation. Learn to take a vacation. Learn to take a vacation. If you are working on any salary, at least once a year, learn to take a vacation. You don't necessarily have to travel abroad before you take a vacation. Even in the city where you live, there are places where you can go on vacation. In your country, there are places where you can go on vacation. Learn to take that opportunity. Also, learn to seek support when you need that support. Make sure you have a good support system. Have friends who you can talk to. Have family members or fellow volunteers who you can share responsibilities with, okay? Or even cover up for each other. When you can't make out time to do something, there should be somebody who can help you do it. It is very, very important for you to learn how to actually communicate well with people and identify people who are your support system. People you can talk to, just somebody who can even listen to your complaints or whatever it is that you need to talk about. They may not necessarily offer solutions to the challenges, but they have a listening ear for you. Please make sure you keep those people close by. And periodically review your commitments to ensure that they still align with your personal goals and health. And as much as possible, be flexible. Be flexible as much as possible. Learn to adjust your commitments as things change for you. If you have to do something more equally important or more important, find a way to adjust that volunteering work you need to do at that time, and then quickly sort out the urgent need and go back to your commitment. Also, use effective communication. Keep communication lines open with both family and volunteer organizers to manage expectations and share any changes in your availability or capacity. Don't just sit down and think people understand. You should understand. Don't just sit down. Say it. If you cannot make it, let them know you cannot make it. If you have another time that you can do it, let them know that I can take up this responsibility at this time. And engage in meaningful volunteering. Make sure you are passionate. Everything we do in this life, we need to be passionate about it. When you are passionate about your work or about whatever you are doing, you get better results because it will not be a drag. This passion actually is a stressor on its own. So you need to choose the roles wisely. There's a volunteering work, and it involves teaching, it involves, coordinating the activity, it involves running errands. Which of them can you do effectively? That is what you should choose. If you know that you are the one that can help with organization, take that role. Don't take the role because they need a speaker. Don't take the role of a speaker when you cannot actually do the job well. That will stress you a lot. So choose your roles wisely. And these are just pictorial representation of some of the tips that we can take to relieve stress and management of stress. Make sure you do things that you enjoy doing. If you love to listen to music, make sure you listen to a lot of music and have all communication lines open. So our take-home message today is: one, balancing personal life and volunteer work is just about making informed decisions. Nobody would make that decision for you. You need to make the informed decision. And when I say informed decision, it means that you fully understand your role as a volunteer and what you have to do in your personal life. And then you make decisions based on the understanding, okay? And ensure that they align with your capabilities and life goals. So if you are not passionate about it, if the volunteer job or work is not in line with the goals you have for yourself in your life, don't take up that work. Don't take up that job. Make sure they align. Whatever role you take up, make sure that role aligns with your personal life goals and capabilities. Don't run another man's race. Run your race. Do not run another man's race. And also, by applying the strategies that I've mentioned earlier, you can enjoy a fulfilling personal life while making meaningful contributions to your community and impacting lives through volunteering. The purpose of a volunteer is to impact life. Okay, that is your goal as a volunteer. You want to make a difference in your community. You want to be that difference in the community. So ensure that you live a fulfilling life for you to be able to achieve that goal. So learn to unwind, learn to distress, and learn to stay positive. Thank you.
Hello, Bolani, are you there? Hello, Bolani. Wow. Thank you so much, Dr. Ojo-Benys. Thank you for this insightful and incisive session on stress management. We really want to appreciate you for going this deep in explaining to us what stress is all about and also identifying stressors and how to create formidable strategies for us to be able to deal with the stress. So thank you so much. So right now we're going to be taking questions. If there are any questions, I'm trying to check the chat box now. If you have any question, please, you can either indicate, you can raise up your hand, or you can drop it in the chat box so that I can quickly put it out to our facilitator. Please, I would like us to also express feedback. Let's know what you've learned. Let's know some of your key takeaways. What are the key points that you think you can easily make to utilize in handling stress? We intentionally create this topic for us to discuss about because we want to ensure productivity and effectiveness in our volunteering community. That's why we have this, and we really appreciate our speaker because she has done good justice to the topic. So please, if you have a question, kindly indicate. You can raise up your hand so that you can unmute to talk, or you can drop the question in the chat box. Okay, I see Nelson has dropped a question. Our speaker, Ma, please, the first question is this. What do you do when you have set your to-do list and an unplanned emergency arises? So what would one have to do in order to deal with this kind of scenario? You have prepared your to-do list and you just have emergency.
Can I go ahead?
Yes, please, you can.
Okay, so I'll take it clinically. Let me just put it that way. So it's like when, as let's say, as a nurse or as a doctor, you are sitting in an emergency room, okay, and you have cases that you are managing. So in medicine, we have what we call triaging system. So it's just like in economics where we have scale of preference. So we have what we call triaging system, where you have things to address. So you have what is a real emergency, you have what is urgent, okay? And then in a case where you have, your to-do list already for the day, and an emergency come in, the first thing you need to do is to assess that thing that has come to disrupt your day. How emergency or how urgent is it, okay? You need to define how urgent it is. If it is really urgent, then you go back to your to-do list and see where you can fit it in. So if, for instance, you've listed some tasks that you need to do for that day, is there any of those tasks that if you do not achieve that day will affect your productivity or will affect your results? If there is something there that you can shift to the next day, you can actually go ahead and do that while you attend to what has become an emergency. But the key thing here is to actually be sure, be convinced that the new thing that has come up is actually an emergency. So you see in an emergency room, a case will come in, which is a life-threatening emergency. Every other thing will be left or dropped to attend to this one. And then once you are satisfied that your patient will not die, then you can go back to where you have left off. So you need to, first of all, define and be sure that it is actually an emergency. Otherwise, you push it down the list.
Awesome, awesome. I mean, this is exactly what is running in my head because one of the challenges I know that we encounter oftentimes is, having these underlying definitions to things. Because we live in a polarized society where everything goes and people are just all about hustling and bustling. So you often get yourself entangled with so many emergencies. So if we are unable to define it, then we get entangled with so many things happening all at the same time, and then the confusion and all those stressors that you indicate, you highlighted to us, now become a reality in our life. So thank you so much, and I believe that Nelson has been able to see the need to, first of all, the first action is for you to give a definition to that emergency, and from your definition, you can know whether you need to process it into your to-do list in terms of prioritizing it, or you need to drop it off if it's not emergent as it is, as it occurs. Thank you, Ma. Let me, before I take the second question in the chat box, let me allow Gose to ask his question. I see you raising up your hand. So kindly unmute Gose to ask your question.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much, Dr. Folashade, Architect Bolan. Thank you so much, sir.
We can't hear you, Gose. I don't know if someone is hearing him. It seems I've lost your audio. Can anyone hear me?
Very well,
Yes.
please.
Oh, okay. So Goze, we've lost you. So please, are you still there?
Oh,
Hello, Goze. You are muted now.
I am
Okay.
here.
Okay, please go ahead.
I don't know. Hello.
Yes, I can hear you. It seems your network is kind of not stable. Wow, the network has logged him out. So we'll take his question when he logs him back. So let me take the other. Please, if you have a question, let's throw in him because our time is fast spent so that we can plan to wind down quickly. Let me take the other question or comment in the chat box. Okay, so this is from Jennifer. She said, personally, I don't have a question. Oh, okay. I appreciate this session because I have a habit of overstressing about the very little things. Currently working on it because stressing doesn't resolve the issue at hand. It only causes more underlying issues for that individual. Yeah, very true. And that's exactly what Dr. had actually explained to us through our presentation. Once we're able to identify those stressors, you know it, then you begin to work on it by looking at the different strategies. He has given us about 10 different strategies. You can adopt any one that you think can be tailored into that particular situation so that you're able to decisively deal with the stress before it aggravates into becoming something like depression or even changing your behavioral pattern and all of sorts. Okay. Yes, Gozi, I'm going to take you back now. Let me take this other question from Emmanuel. So Emmanuel is asking that at what point can one exercise okay, at what point can exercise become a stressful activity to the body? So, Dr. Shade, Emmanuel is asking that when you say that one of the strategies for us to engage in exercise, so at what point will exercise become a stressful activity to the body?
Okay, thank you. It's it's a very, I mean, it's a difficult question to answer. So it's like asking, at what point will you say you have overfed your body? At what point will you say you are full? I mean, when you overdo it, your body will tell you. So your body should be able to tell you that what you are doing is too much for you. And that is why you need to understand yourself. You don't do things because everybody is doing it. So if everybody is lifting weights, you also go and lift the weights. And exercise, I mean, it's in various forms. It's not until you go to a gym that before you say you are exercising. Like the example I gave earlier, even during your prayer hours or prayer times, you can actually exercise your body. You walk up and down, swing your arms, turn your neck right, left, up, down. It's all part of exercise. You are at work in an office, you sit down to work for a few hours, you stand up to stretch your legs, you climb up and down the stairs, places that you can actually walk to. I mean, you don't have to necessarily take a car to those places. It's of different forms of exercise. So your body should be able to tell you when it is too much. Nobody can actually define for you how much exercise your body should be able to tolerate. You should know as an individual how much exercise your body can actually tolerate. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. In fact, you spoke decisively on my personal disposition when it comes to the area of exercise. I'm someone that don't believe in going into the gym before you exercise. By the virtue of what I do personally every day, it's even way beyond the demand of my exercise. So I try as much as possible to watch that. So interestingly, you need to know yourself, understand the different activities you engage in your life, and then you can begin to underscore your commitment to exercise. And just to also reverberate what you said just now is also because the kind of inclination people have about exercise is not necessarily about you going into gym to go and build up your biceps and triceps. That's not the concept of exercise. So we need to understand that if you are going into gym, it must be with a purpose. What exactly are you going there to do? And is this something that you want to be doing on a consistent basis, right? So that, I mean, you don't want to start and then stop at another time. I'm sure that that's another clinical way of explaining going extreme, right? Because once you start a process with your body and you stop, it can also induce stress within you. So thank you so much, Doctor, for explaining that to us. We have two other people, and I think we can round up after taking them. So, Gode, please, you can unmute and let's have your question or comment before I take the last person.
Okay, hello everyone. Can everyone hear me now?
Yes,
Yes,
clearly.
please.
Very good.
Okay, great. Thank you, everyone. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much, Dr. Folashade, for this beautiful topic. Thank you so much, Architect Bolan. Thank you. You stay amazing always. And everyone that is here today, thank you all for joining. So I just have like a comment, not like a question really, because I mean, it was practically like they were talking to me, like Dr. Folashade was talking to me. I mean, over the past few years, or not, let me not just say the past few years, say like 2 years ago, when I resumed my role in the office, the stress has been really crazy. So when they talk about you are sleeping and your mind has sent the emails, arranged all your this thing for the next day and all that, I totally could relate. And also, I mean, the part where Dr. Folashade spoke about you having to not I mean you every like it gets to a point that every little task that you could do in your sleep literally stresses you. And then when you now have a team, because I manage a team of about 15 people, and then when you now have a team that sometimes you have to now have to do everything for everyone. Sometimes you don't even get to see the thing that you're doing anymore. Like you feel like, okay, I'm now self-sufficient. My team is okay. They don't do it. I mean, like she said, delegate. So you don't even delegate sometimes. And at the end of the day, you now get so burnt out. That I'm just trying to talk about what happened to me as a person. You get so burnt out that you would sleep you think you're sleeping for 7 hours. You wake up the next morning and then you get to work and they ask you, did you sleep at all last night? Why do you look so tired? Why are you looking like you've not slept for the past 2 weeks? And so this year, I took out time. I think from the end of last year to this, I told myself that I was going to try to cut down on so many things and then know the important things to do. And as I went to do them, like that Eisenhower box that she spoke about. I mean, it plans. You plan your schedule to know, okay, this is what should be done. This one can come later tomorrow. I can do this tomorrow. Because at some point I felt like my body was trying to give in, like it was trying to give up. Like a lot, it was really telling. If I'm sleeping, I feel like I'm not sleeping, I'm not resting. I don't even take vacations. I'm like, I always trying to do one thing. So most times you end up giving 80% on things. You don't even give your 100% anymore. You give 50, 60, 80 because there was just so much things to do, too many things to do. So since this year, and then last year, I didn't do anything. Last 2 years, I didn't do anything related to maybe self-development or anything because I was busy doing so many things at the same time that I even kind of like, I think there's one part that maybe you end up neglecting yourself, you end up leaving yourself behind. Things that you're supposed to even do for you, you don't even do it anymore to help boost maybe your personal development or anything. You don't do it anymore because you have so many things to do that you end up paying so much attention to those things, and at some point you feel like you lose yourself in the process. And yeah, so this year I kind of like I with what she said, like that Eisenhower box, it really helped me a lot. So this time I'm able to prioritize things. No, okay, this is what I'm going to do between this time to this time. This is what I'm going to do. Sometimes it still can be a bit overwhelming because you still have some things that you have to factor in. Some maybe should I say things that come up immediately, like the first question the first person asked. I mean, things like that happen every time. When there's an emergency, you have to now fit it in again into your schedule. Know that okay, this one has to be added to my to-do list. But at the end of the day, I just want to say thank you. It's a beautiful. I feel like it's totally relatable. Like it's a topic that I've been looking forward to hearing from someone. And then this is very extensive, and I really appreciate the speaker today. Thank you so much, Ma. And thank you so much, sir, for the opportunity. I mean, this has really been very insightful. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jose, for the feedback. This is awesome. We appreciate you. Thank you. Okay, the last question from Techno. Sorry, the person using Techno, can you just indicate your real name so that we can attribute your question to your real name. I can see you are using Techno Povo 3 Plus. So please, if you can rename your profile, or you can just drop your name in the chat box. So the question from you is that what are some of the best strategies for following through on our daily to-do list? So this is about tracking. So what are the best strategies to track? We've done the planning. You've created your to-do list, as Doctor has said. So what are the strategies to follow through this to-do list? Over to you, Doctor.
Okay, thank you. So first and foremost, even before you list out your to-do list, you need to first of all determine which one is more important. Okay. So your first on the list should be most important, and then, or what you call urgent, and then followed by the important ones. Okay. So once you itemize them like that, you allot the time to them, what you need to do a day. So let me try and make it a bit more practical. So for instance, you are supposed to, your daily work is to write mails to people. Okay, you need to read to the mails, respond to the mails, and then write mails to people. So when you come in the morning, you open it, you've listed, I have to respond to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10 people in a day. Which of these mails is more important? Is the most important? That should be your number one. Then you list them out like that, and then you allot time. So you are supposed to be at work from 9 to 5, and this is all you need to do from 9 to 5. So what time will you take your first break of the day? Let's say you plan to take a break at 10:30. So that's like your tea break. So between 9 a.m. and 10:30, which of these things you should have responded to should be top on your list? So if you need to send a mail to Mr. A, because you need, there's a timeline for what you need to do with Mr. A. You make sure that within the time that you have allotted to Mr. A, you sit down and do it. If an emergency comes along the line while you are doing that, maybe your boss says, go and get this done. Assess what your boss has asked you to do. Find out, you can even probe and find out, okay, what is my timeline or deadline for what you have asked me to do? If he says, oh, by 12 noon, then you don't have to interrupt what you are doing. Okay, don't let your boss's new task become a distraction. So go ahead and continue with what you are supposed to do up to the 10:30 when you're supposed to take a break. And then when it is time for that break, you weigh the rest of the things you need to do. Is there a period where you can fit it in before 12 noon? Or can I sacrifice part of my break? If your break is for like 30 minutes, this task, how long will it take me to do it? Can I do it in 10 minutes? Then can I sacrifice 10 minutes of my break and push it in and do it? If it is going to take me longer than that, you should be able to tell your boss, I'm sorry, I can't do it at this time that you have given me. Can you extend the timeline? If your boss says yes, then that's a good thing. If your boss says no, he cannot extend the timeline, then look at the other things you have to do and prioritize them and see the ones you can delete from your itinerary for the day. If there is one that you can delete from the itinerary for the day, maybe it's an unnecessary task, then you go ahead and delete it. But you need to be able to prioritize. Once you have planned it, allot the time, be disciplined enough to follow through on the time and meet your timelines. And be bold to say no or ask for more time. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So I hope Shitu, you've been able to see this applicable strategy. Talk about task prioritization, then talk about time allocation to the tasks on your to-do list. then learn to say no. Very, very important. And this does not mean that you are doing insubordination. You are just only being frank about the reality of the work that's been assigned to you. And any good leader, any reasonable leader who has a proper servant leadership skill will understand when a subordinate says no, not because the person is trying to be insubordinate, but really just saying the truth about what is happening here. So it's important that you understand that these are relatable strategy. And when you dispose this kind of strategy in handling your to-do list, you'll be respected for it because you always deliver on your job. And trust me, people will always recognize you, and they will always appreciate you because you deliver success on your daily basis. So thank you so much. We are going to, okay, I can see other comments in the chat box. Okay. Yes, so yes, thank you, Ms. Omole. So there is always a way to say no, so that you have to, because it's about communication, so that this is your boss or this is your team lead. You don't have to say no in such a way that it will be interpreted. Because when you communicate your no, how do you communicate the no so that it doesn't they don't infer or translate your communication to mean that you are being insubordinate, or you are committing some kind of disobedience at workplace. So it's important that you put all these skills to play. So this brings us to the end of training today. I know that we've taken a lot of time, but you bear with me that it's really worth doing an exhaustive session on this topic. So thank you so much, Dr. Folashade, Ojo-Benys, for honoring our invitation and for helping us do a great justice to this topic. From all indication and from the comments and questions we've received, it's obvious that we've learned a lot from this decisive session. So thank you so much. God bless you, ma. And I'm going to hand over back to Bolanle to take us through the closing of the session. Thank you. So over to you, Bolanle.
Okay, thank you very much once again, Dr. Mrs. Folashade. Thank you, Dr. Atebola Onta, and for everyone that has participated both in questions and comments session. Once again, we're saying thank you. So if you're joining us for the very first time, or you've been joining our sessions for a while, and you'd like to be a member of our initiative, please go to the chat box. There's some details there about our social media channels. You could check us out on our website, www.eyainitiative.org, and we have our Instagram account also address there. Go check us out on our Instagram page. And lastly, the form is there. There's the last link is there for you to fill to become a member. So any of these, please check us out. And then if you'd like to be a member, please click on the last link. It takes you to the form where you can fill in your details, and then there'll be a follow-up from there. Thank you very much. You can also send us a mail, yes, at info@eyainitiative.org. The details are there in the chat box. So I'd like to, at this point, appreciate everyone. It has been a very interactive session, a very practical session where so many of these things, when we start putting them into our personal lives, will enable us, have a healthy life, and we can balance so many of our activities. At this point, we'll be taking this session to an end. I believe all our questions and contributions have been justice has been done to them, and thank you so much, Dr. Atebola, for your contribution. And so this brings us to the end of the session of our monthly development session for this month. And I'd like to appreciate everyone that stayed to the end. We'll see us all again next month, and we should watch out for the topic of the next session, as it promises to be engaging us. So our final thanks to Dr. Folashade. Thank you so much for honoring us and for giving us your best for this session. We're very grateful and we love you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, moderator Bolanle. God bless you. So you can follow us on our Instagram. We are going to see a link for watching over this session on the YouTube. So just check on our Instagram page or you can send us a mail to receive the link for you to be able to. For those who are not already within our community and you are not part of the volunteers and you like to have access to the link to watch over this, so just send us a mail or you follow us on Instagram, you'll see the link. Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful evening. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.